Hi guys, this is Yume with Neon Dream Tarot. It's been a while since I last recorded a reading, and I wanted to do one today. I'm a little under the weather though, so I apologize in advance. But if you know me, I'm always sick, so, I can't really wait until I'm not sick or it'll never happen. I started doing a reading earlier, just because I was tired of sleeping and have a fever. I've been asleep for the last few days, but I just felt this message that I need to get out or else it's gonna make me more sick. So, whoever this is for, I guess. And I'm just gonna do a voice recording today because I feel like a lot of messages that I need to get out, and it's a little bit easier for me to channel if I'm not, on camera and having to think about appearance and all of that. So I'm just gonna get right into it. This message is for someone who is wearing a mask, and they really have their walls up to the entire world. And I just wrote, why? Why are you wearing this mask? Why are you working so hard to pretend to fit into a life where you would never be accepted for your true self? And yeah, that was the general overall for this reading. This is someone who's desperately trying to fit into a life where they don't fit. Someone who's ignoring their true calling. Someone who's focusing really hard on only the financial and social aspects of life and not at all to the spiritual calling that they've been being called to from their angels and guides. They're ignoring it. They're ignoring their gifts. This person came up as the magician. This is a master magician, manifester. Someone who's a very, very old soul. Someone who's been here many, many times before, incarnated many times before for the same purpose they're being called to right now that they're ignoring. You are a master magician, but no one in your world would ever know that. You hide your magical, psychic, spiritual gifts and pretend you don't have them, that they don't exist. You just gaslight yourself and pretend that you're ordinary, and you desperately want to be ordinary. You want to fit in, like I said, to this life that you don't fit into. And you try so hard to uphold that false persona that you've spent your lifetime cultivating. And it's at the point where you don't even know who you are anymore, what's real, what's not. But you're drawn to these spiritual things. You hear the messages, you get the dreams, you have these intuitive nudges, but you ignore them. But you were drawn here to my reading for that purpose. And you were drawn to this reading because you are destined for greatness. You were born to do great things in this life, far beyond what you're currently working on and the small scope that you're trying to force yourself into. And you inherently know this is true. You can maybe tell when people are lying, see inside of them, know things before they're about to happen, and you get messages and missions from the divine that you ignore, and it tears you up inside. You end up veering towards narcissism, maybe alcoholism, and maybe drugs. And it's because this self-denial has given you this complex of inferiority and superiority that you're constantly trying to battle between those two polarities. And it's because you're trying to ignore your spiritual gifts. You're trying to ignore the messages that God and your angels are given to you and bombarding you with. And it's making you sit too much in your ego, making you want to be the smartest, brightest, most charming, popular, gifted, etc., instead of seeing that talent is an illusion. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything that is has already been created. Time isn't linear. Everything that's been created that can be attributed to human creation, to the human ego, whether it's music, stories, art, whatever, it's not created from the human ego. Even though we claim it and stick our names on it and, try to get royalties from it under capitalism, our egos aren't making anything. We're channeling. We're tapping into the language of angels, into the Akashic records. We are just conduits for these divine messages. God is filtering those messages through us into the matrix, and it produces this distorted message, like playing a game of telephone, as we take that divine inspiration and then put our spin on it, put our little ego flavor on it, and create, our own narrative that we pass off as our own story. And so everything, if you look around, if you start learning the language of angels, you'll see that in everything around us, everything is this half-true kind of story that tells half distortion, half divine truth. And tarot and astrology are also in the language of angels. It's, I guess, probably the Book of Enoch that says that angels gave that to humans, and it was the forbidden angel knowledge that they gave to humans that they weren't supposed to know. I know very little about Christianity, but I learned that, I think, on YouTube the other day, so I thought it was cool. But when you learn tarot, you start to see, outside of your own ego, you start to see that language of angels, and that all of this has this intelligent design. That everything around us, this whole world, every minute ripple, every action and reaction is divinely orchestrated, very complexly, more complex than any human can comprehend, even. It's all intelligently designed. I can feel the mental block for whoever I'm talking to, whoever this message is actually for. You'll know confirmation if you feel a mental block towards the concept of intelligent design or God sending messages, because, like I said, you've been getting messages and you're denying them, probably having dreams and ignoring it. You probably side more with science, or just there's a spiritual denial from whoever this message is meant for, whoever I'm talking to. But I feel someone kind of scoffing at the idea of God and fate in general. So if that's you, just know this message is definitely for you, if that's the case. This is for someone who has lost their faith. And you could even be, this is not for everybody, but for a couple of people specifically, you could be someone who works in a spiritual field. But the majority of you will not. But even if you work in a spiritual field, you're in this emperor energy, male or female. It doesn't matter. You want to have that firm control over your life and destiny, and you don't want to acknowledge God or the divine. You try to put this ego spin onto everything and try to pretend everything is coming directly from you, like you're the only God of your world. But it's just kind of surface level because you don't actually believe it. Underneath it all, you're actually someone of deep faith. You actually believe in a higher calling and are desperately seeking your destiny, but you're also on a surface level, on the conscious level, fighting against it. And the person I'm talking to has a deeply torn ego. You have this feeling of not being good enough to be chosen by God, and you kind of self-sabotage every mission that you're given. There's something you're being called to do that you've been refusing your calling for. You've been ignoring your dreams. You've received some kind of enlightenment about your past life and about the mission that you were sent into this incarnation for, and you're ignoring it so that you can, go play Monopoly in the Matrix. This is for someone who's definitely focused on getting that bag and just on their career in general and on other people's expectations of them, trying to uphold something fake, something they don't even believe in. Like if they put their all into this, they put their entire every breath working so hard to uphold this fake persona that maybe they'll believe in it. 11:11 when I said that. Whoever you are, your ego and spiritual sides are completely at odds. And it's painful for me. I can feel the pain that you're facing. You're a runner. There's someone who you're running from. There's some kind of soulmate, spiritual connection, some kind of past life, important connection that you've put on this pedestal in your mind, and you won't go near it. Just like your mission, you won't touch it. Anything, really, that has to do with those divine orders that you're being given, you're just putting them away in this box and not touching them. Like if you touch them, you'll ruin it, but you're ruining it and failing the message and failing the mission because, you're not doing it. You're self-sabotaging. I see someone holding a baby bird so delicately. Like, if they move at all, they'll hurt it. And that's what you're doing with this connection and with your calling. You're like, there's something about inherently in you that feels like you'll destroy it. Like you're not, I don't know the words to describe it. You're pushing away your faith, your mission, and this person, like the preschool bully pushes the girl they have a crush on. And internally, the energy is completely different than how, it is in the 3D, how it's turning out to be in the 3D world. Internally, it's so delicate, so gentle. This person delicately cradling this baby bird, not wanting to hurt a single feather on its body, but then in reality, just being so mean, shutting them out, shutting everything out that relates to this. And it's because it's on this pedestal of something they truly want, and they're trying so hard to live a life that they don't even want it, but they don't want to admit that either. You're trying to live in a lie when you already know better. If you stop for a second, and that's why you don't stop. Because if you stopped for a second, you would realize that you don't want the life that you've been trying so hard for, and it's definitely, fallacy of sunk cost. And despite your spiritual and ego being completely, polarized, torn apart, and veering towards that narcissism, you're not possessed. I feel like everybody around you is possessed, and you know it. Everybody that can be possessed around you is, and you're kind of in hell. You're on the fucking front lines. I don't even think you consciously know it, but if you were to stop and look around you, you'd realize this is literally hell that you're in. And you're trying to play Monopoly with demons. You're walking completely in the darkness, but you're not possessed. I don't think you can be possessed. That is only for specific people in this. Most people can be possessed. And at least a couple of people who listen to this message, you are. But I wouldn't know how to get that through to you anyways. Because if you are possessed, you don't think you are. And it's like, if you're not possessed, you're questioning if you are, kind of thing. But I'm not going to deal with all that right now. This is for someone who isn't. You run too fast. It's like track shoes. You were incarnated vibrationally right onto the front line. And you were put there for a purpose. You were put there to be trained. You're there because you're a soldier. You're supposed to be waking people up, but you're ignoring your destiny and out here playing Monopoly in the Matrix, falling for the glamour and illusion of the simulation, and collecting Monopoly money and dating NPCs. And you know it on some level, but you don't want to acknowledge it. And you specifically don't want to acknowledge the messages in your dreams. You're terrified of letting go of everything that you've built. It's like, I'm about to buy Park Avenue and this railroad, and then I'll be good. Meanwhile, God is about to smack you. Like, the look on Metatron's face for dealing with this bullshit. And I keep seeing, like, Twilight and, like, that Edward meme of, what am I, Bella? Say it. You're like, you know what I am. But you keep refusing to take the hints God keeps giving you. You just want them to come out and say it. You want them to, like, the universe to smack you over the head with it. But that's not how angels work. They can't control free will. They can't take away that autonomy from people. They can just suggest. They can only make, little signs, synchronicities, little things, little undercurrents to persuade humans. And it's the same with archons. This is just a chess game of influence over people. But you were directly always meant to be on one side of this, but yet you're playing with the demons. And you refuse to give that up. Like, refuse to give it up unless they just come out and just say it outright. Just say what I am. But that's not how this works. And you know it. If you're wondering if this message was for you, it was. Even if the whole message wasn't for you, it's for several people, but it will reach who it needs to, and I have complete faith in that. That's how this works. God is trying to teach you to have that faith again. He is trying to get you back into the fold. Like, if you know me personally, and you're trying to figure out who I'm talking about, or if you have ulterior motives and just want to know, if this is about you or who I'm dealing with, yeah, it's about you. You were sent here by God because there's a message in here for you somewhere. This is your wake-up call from the divine. Whether or not you'll wake up, I'm not sure, because, you keep refusing to. You keep refusing your mission, but, that's the thing. You specifically were meant for greatness. You were meant to serve God directly. And it's because you don't want that gift that you will know that you were chosen directly for it. You're like a sleeper agent. Like, this is Bourne Identity. You're Jason Bourne, right? That's his name, right? I don't fucking know. But your entire life thus far, all of the shit, all of the trauma, all of the nightmare that you've lived here through was to prepare you, to train you. And it's like that saying that God never gives you more than you can handle. You were given everything. You signed pre-birth agreements for everything that you've experienced. You knew before you were incarnated that you would experience those hardships, and everybody knew you could handle them, and you did. But you haven't had the perspective shift yet that you need to. You're on the precipice of this paradigm shift. There's a portal that you need to go through so that you can embark on this journey that you're supposed to be on right now, so that you can align yourself with your highest self, with the destiny of your highest self that your highest self agreed to before you started this life. Your soul is very old and very powerful, and you've either started to or are about to start remembering your past life memories and realizing specifically who you are. Hopefully this will help trigger that. And I'm supposed to tell you that you're not alone. That's what they're asking me to say. You just feel alone right now, no matter how many people you have around you. It's by design. You're supposed to feel spiritually alone right now. 22 on the time when I said that. Confirmation. See, this is what I'm talking about. These little things that you want to overlook. That's the language of angels. That's how they're speaking to you, and you don't want to acknowledge it, but that's what's going on. You're meant to realize that you're alone right now and that you don't fit in to where you've been trying to fit yourself in. I'm seeing like Gollum with the ring, just my precious, just holding on to it, and there's someone here who's just holding on to their destiny, some person, like this precious thing, and viewing themselves like they're Gollum, like they're just, I don't know. You're so afraid of fucking up. That's all I can really know for sure, because it's like you feel not good enough, but you also feel like you're the man, but you're so scared of breaking it always. And this is this is not just an issue for you in this incarnation. This has been an issue for you in multiple lifetimes. This is an issue of your higher self. that your higher self also deals with, your oversoul. You're a soul shard. Like, if you take this powerful soul up in heaven and you throw it down to the earth and it smashes into multiple pieces, that's basically what you are. You're the soul shard of this oversoul, and you have your soul is littered throughout timelines and different planes, waiting to be woken up. You shut someone out that you actually wanted to be with, and it's killing you. And it's corrupting you inside, like Gollum with the ring. And you're, for some reason, scared of rejection. So you rejected this person. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. It is so dark without you. You're so different from everyone around me. Why do I deserve someone like you? I don't want to be who I used to be. You deserve better. I can't promise you anything. The heat between us is intense. The passion is too much. You have all of these mixed messages here. The Tower, 7 of Swords, Ace of Cups, 10 of Swords, under I'm scared of rejection. Queen of Cups, the Fool, Knight of Wands. It's dark out without you. There's so much love. But this battle is inside of you. It's not external. However, I'm struggling to find the words, but however spiky it is, you know, in reality, in the external world, however, how much friction is there is nothing compared to the battle that you're going through inside of yourself on a daily basis. And this person is too. You're definitely mirroring each other. And whatever you're going through, they're going through the equal mirror of that, and it's miserable. And you're not alone, because they're also going through it. You guys are made from the same soul. And you exist sort of kaleidoscoped across all these different timelines and planes and dimensions. You sit too much in your logical mind, but your gift was never about your logical mind. Your ego, that's why you sit in your ego, because your ego and your logical mind are on the same side. And then the feminine energy is intuition, and, you know, the moon, all of your intuitive gifts lie in the divine. And with you showing up as the Emperor here, there's this denial of that feminine energy, and I've been picking up on this for so long now. And it's more than just you specifically, because this paradigm as a whole is dealing with this, and has been. It's part of how they uphold the Matrix, and have, you know, since like Gilgamesh, like the denial of the feminine intuitive energy has been the control that upholds this Matrix. And I say Gilgamesh specifically because before that, you know, the world is much more matriarchal. There's equal gods and goddesses. This is like pre-monotheism. Like Ishtar, Inanna, the goddess was revered around the world, and then Gilgamesh comes along. Chad Bro, and his story was that, you know, Inanna, who was like, you know, the sacred prostitute archetype, when, you know, women's sexual agency wasn't trampled on. She had multiple lovers. She was equal to men in, the pantheon of gods. I'm not sure if this is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. I just know that he, had this story about Inanna, how, he was this king, and Inanna wanted to sleep with him, and he is too cool for her, and he said, no, I don't want to. I don't want to fuck you. And she, freaks out and goes to heaven, goes to God, and it's just I think it was Enki, this god in this story, and goes to him, and he's just or Anu, I forget. But I think she goes to Anu, and she demands the bowl of heaven. Give me the bowl of heaven, or else I'm gonna go into the underworld and raise the dead from the underworld and have them attack the living, and just basically just fucking says that she's gonna destroy all of humanity and the whole world because this one dude won't fuck her, and because he's so dreamy heartthrob. It's so stupid. And this is in history where you can see power being taken away from women. That's where the shift started. And it wasn't just, this whole thing is by design. It's not just to, subjugate women. It was to subjugate humanity, so that sorry, my cats are attacking each other. Anyways, sorry about that. It was so that people, men and women, would deny their feminine intuitive energy that they have, so that they would lose their magical gifts, because that is tied inherently to the feminine moon goddess energy, your sacred, Venus, Lilith, etc. energy. That's where you'll get all these intuitive gifts. And even if you're a masculine, watching this, reading, listening to this, your gifts were never in that emperor energy. Male or female, whoever you are listening to this, specifically, you were never meant to be this dictator, this sledgehammer kind of energy. Your gifts were always supposed to be through the strength of your emotional intuition, through your intuitive gifts, through your dreams, through your psychic premonitions, through being able to emotionally feel what everybody else is feeling, those emotional ties that you have. You're so strong. You can feel people's feelings from across the world if you, have a tie with them. You can look into people's souls and see everything that's hidden there if you allow yourself to and believe that you can. You truly can. And I know that you're really trying to change. And you have been. You've changed so much. You've gone through so many ego deaths. But without awakening that feminine energy in you, without waking up that spiritual side and waking up to your mission, as this sleeper agent, getting your past life memories and having faith in what you're being told until you stop gaslighting yourself and trust in God, you're gonna stay lost. And that only comes through unconditional love, learning to unconditionally love everyone, including yourself. Most importantly, yourself, because that's who you're not giving love to. That's who you're denying love. And you're just separating yourself from it. It's this lack mentality where you're taking this thing and putting it up on top of this mountain over here where you can't reach it so that you won't destroy it. And you feel like you'll do it in every lifetime. And you just let your pride get in the way. And I'm hearing, you won't break me. And that divine feminine energy may seem soft, but it is definitely not weak. It's like you fear that the darkness inside of you is too much, is too great. and you're afraid of yourself. You're afraid of that darkness in you, but someone else isn't, and that makes you not like them because you don't like that part of yourself. And you desperately want someone who can handle that darkness, and then you desperately push them away at the same time because it's like that thing that you always wanted. If you got it and you fucked it up, it would break you, and you don't think you can handle it, so it's safer to just not have it. It's safer to just, this whole thing, it's just about you keep choosing the safer route. It's not safer. You're literally choosing to be in hell. You're choosing your own misery. You're not happy. Let's face it, if you're listening to this message right now, you are not happy in your life, in your circumstances. You're not happy with what you chose. But you can change it. You can change it. You are safe to change it. There's so much more than you could ever realize out there. This world is so huge, magical, with just so much that you've never seen or let yourself see, let yourself know. You're just living in this muggle world, but it's not like that. You have no idea the beauty that's out there, the just magic and mystery. I'll just say that, I was talking about the Akashic Records and how nothing is created out of the human ego. Everything, all the stories that are written, they come out of the collective consciousness for a reason. They're all those fantasy, sci-fi stories. Every story that's written is half true. It doesn't come out of nowhere. All thoughts exist on a certain plane. There's so many different dimensions and timelines, and it's hard to comprehend because as humans we try to understand things linearly, damn it. Linearly? Anemone. Sorry. Listen, I have a fever. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I wish I could show you guys the magic that I've seen in the last couple months. I really love to be able to show people the portal that I'm talking about that you're going to go through. I already went through it. It was amazing. I left my whole life behind. I left that whole old world behind. I got tired of the Matrix, the lack of magic. I wanted a world with magic in it, and now I'm in one. And it's beautiful. And I was afraid, too. I was afraid of change. And I refused it, and like you are. But I got chased here, literally by demons. And I can't leave now. So you can take that however you want. Believe it or not. Whatever. It doesn't affect me. Actually, quite a few people stopped talking to me when I tried to tell them about it. But you guys don't realize that reality is relative to the individual. It's not like people are delusional. They live in a different reality than you. They're experiencing a different world than you are. Even if you're talking to them, you're not in the same world, same dimensions, same timelines. That's not how shit works. And if you keep your mind small, thinking that you're being so smart and logical, you're looking like an idiot out there. And God is about to humble you real quick. And trust me, I got humbled too. And I have plenty of ego as well. But God's not against you having an ego. He just wants you to have a healthy one. Be proud of your accomplishments, not false ego. If taking accountability would hurt your ego, you built it wrong. You need to tear that shit down and rebuild it. You need to ask yourself throughout the day, does this serve me? And if it doesn't, quit fucking doing it. I'm going to make another part later going over how I got to where I am now and the changes that happened and the portal tuning and all of that, that I'll do a separate video for. It's gonna go over splendidly, I can tell. Sorry, my lack of faith in people is showing. That's one thing you have to understand. It's not just faith in God. You need to have faith in God's plan. And God's plan includes the people around you. Maybe not specifically in your vicinity if he's trying to get you out of where you are. But the people meant to be on your path, you have to believe in them and yourself. Otherwise, you are doubting God's plan. And if you have absolute faith and conviction, you will be rewarded. I fucking guarantee it. Try it. Just try for one day, 1 week of doing what that resonance inside of you tells you to do. Do what that voice tells you to do, what God tells you to do. Drop things that you're supposed to drop. Stop talking to the people you're supposed to stop talking to. Talk to the people that you're supposed to talk to. Do what that voice is asking you to do and watch how much your life will change. You'll get money thrown out from the heavens at you. You don't have to beg. You don't have to work your ass off. You don't have to do anything but have faith. You know inside what you're here for, what your mission is if you are on one. This may not resonate with everybody. Not everybody's here on a mission from God, but if you're listening to this, wondering if it's for you, chances are it is for you. You know if it's for you. Let's be real. You know damn well if I'm talking about you. I love saying that and then letting people question. It's like, I bet, what is that song? I bet you think the song is about you, don't you? Or maybe you're just full of yourself. Who knows? I shouldn't gaslight you more. You're already gaslighting yourself enough. Sorry. The real answer is that this is not meant for just one person. There are several specific people and then non-specific people that this message is for. And it will hit who it needs to hit. I have faith in that. That's how this works. If you make a message, it will get to the person that it's supposed to get to, one way or the other. It was supposed to be one way or another, but I said the other as if there's only two ways. I don't know. I wonder what meaning that has. Nothing's random. Literally nothing is random. Everything is by design. A great first step, if you haven't already, pick up tarot cards. Learn tarot. You will quickly realize that reality is not fucking real. Step 2 is aligning your vibrational frequency, tuning yourself. We do this by keeping a record of your dreams, the messages that you get, channeling things. You can just start writing if you just I call it free writing, and you just start writing your thoughts and eventually just let, the ADHD take over and you'll start channeling and you'll get the message that you were supposed to get. But it's more than that. If you want to make the messages come in easier, you have to tune yourself. Kind of like getting better Wi-Fi reception to get those downloads a little faster, a little easier. You may have noticed that I changed my look a bit and took out my piercings and, hair dye and not wearing black clothing. If you know me, I've worn all black clothes since I was a small child. And my guides told me that phase was over, that I was doing it to protect myself, that I didn't need to anymore. What I needed to do was to be away from people and to go somewhere very specific where I am now. And then started giving me visions of past life memories, which then everything has a vibration, food, colors, days of the week, everything, thoughts, everything has a frequency, and you can learn to read that frequency. That's the language of angels that I'm talking about. My roommate and I taught her how to be a tarot reader, and we realized a few months ago, or over the winter, that we was studying different religions and the Kabbalah, and there's like, I think, 72 different angels in the Kabbalah that are each a different face of God. They all are different frequencies or something. Forgive me if that's not the right number. And then there's like 76 tarot cards, question mark, whatever. Correct that to whatever the right number is if it's wrong. But all of those are different frequencies, and tarot cards correspond to different angels, different frequencies, different emotional frequencies. Everyone's name and being in the language of angels, I almost said elves, and elves for that matter, is through emotion, through feeling your logic. In Gnosticism, Pistis Sophia is the angel of wisdom and faith through wisdom. It's a frequency. Every angel is an emotional frequency. And angels are just a faction of Fae. You have the Fae and you have humans. And they're called different things no matter in different belief systems. They're Deva in Hinduism. And they're called different things throughout the world, but they're in every single culture since the dawn of time. And like I said, they're in fantasy stories too, which come from the collective consciousness. There's a mirror world outside of our world. There's a world directly mirroring us. Like, think like Stranger Things would be the half-truth of that. Now, you're going to have an open mind, and bear with me. But you can look at any fictional story and find the half-truth. It can be Star Wars, it can be Lord of the Rings, it can be Star Trek, it doesn't matter. It can be the Bible. Every religious doctrine, all the religious doctrines in the world, all half-truth, half-distortion. And they'll all tell one underlying story, if you can sort through them. Which is where you start getting feeling kind of tin hat, if you do this, and you just have to kind of resolve yourself to the fact that a lot of people are going to think you're fucking nuts, and you don't want to seem nuts. The person who I'm talking to, that's like part of why you're trying to mask so hard and trying to uphold this life, because you both want to and don't want to open this Pandora's box. Because you intuitively, through your abilities, your special fucking psychic abilities, know where it leads. But I jumped straight in, however unwilling I was. And it started several months ago when my roommate and I got this deck of angel tarot cards, which takes all of those individual tarot card energies and corresponds it with an angel, a facet of God, and a certain emotional frequency. And the truth is, I don't need the cards anymore to read. I have like perfect pitch for this, and it's only gotten stronger since I've tuned myself to it. But I also can't be around people anymore because I get really sick. And I really don't care who thinks I'm crazy, because I can see into everyone's souls now. I can feel their feelings. I can see their lies. I can see the truth, their higher and lower selves. And I can see all the timelines around me. I can see all of the ripples. And I'm not shown everything. I'm shown just enough to know that this is very divinely orchestrated. But if I was shown any more, my fucking head would explode. I can't handle it. So take this as you will. But there is a specific person, and actually several specific people, who will listen to this message, who are supposed to listen to this message, who are meant for something way greater than the small life that you're living. And it's time to stop playing small, stop playing safe. And I actually, when I was drawing oracle cards for this reading, Oracle of Pluto guidebook, which is the other book that we got with the Angels book that has changed my life, I pulled House Cat for you, which means choices, the easy way out, and rewilding. A common friend in the pet world, the house cat is one of the few domesticated animals that can turn feral at any moment and then back again, if it so chooses. The same dichotomy is present within this card. In a reading, the house cat asks us about the decisions we're making and whether they're in alignment with what we truly want, believe, or need. As humans, we are prone to taking the path of least resistance, the comfortable, familiar path. But just because something is comfortable doesn't always mean it's good. It's time to be honest with yourself. Are you moving toward growth, toward your desires, toward your needs? Or are you staying sedentary and complacent because at least you know what to expect? Think of the feral nature a cat never loses. There's a part of you that is also begging to be free, to be wild, to embrace the risk of trying something new. It's highly likely this is the truest version of yourself. Let that part out of the house. Further reflection. People often talk about the process of rewilding, but what does it mean? It is a process of dismantling all the expectations and pressures imposed upon us by society, by others, and very often by our own selves. Through rewilding, we return to our rawest, most natural selves. Who were you before they told you what to be? And whoever I'm talking to, you've had very strong expectations upon you since birth because of whatever your birthright was in this incarnation. But your soul has an inheritance that goes back so many lifetimes that's so much greater than just your simple inheritance in this lifetime. There's so much more to your soul that you're not realizing. And it doesn't matter who your parents are in this world, in this lifetime, who your family is, what they want for you, what their expectations are, and what you've been pressured to be since you were a child. You have been struggling and breaking under the weight of those expectations since birth because your soul was not made for that, and you were made to break out, break away, and go against that paradigm. And that's scary. It's scary to think about. So you've been choosing the safest path, the path of least resistance, so that you can stay within that lane and never outside of it, never stray outside. You're staying in a prison of your own making and, keeping yourself drunk or drugged or just distracted, I guess, by any way that you can, so that you'll ignore the misery you're feeling. I also pulled the oracle card Moose. The meaning is a formidable, formidable obstacle or opponent giving something too much power. The majestic moose is an intimidatingly large beast. Until you've experienced the presence of one in real life, it's difficult to appreciate the true impact of their stature. Yeah, there's moose up here where I live, and they're huge. Also confirmation if you have been thinking that you need to move away from wherever you're at now. Yeah, you do. You need to change your whole fucking life. Anyways, once you've seen a moose in real life, their mammoth size is truly unforgettable. If the moose card appears in your reading, something in your life feels just as large and intimidating as this creature. Whatever the obstacle is, a person, a situation, a problem that needs to be solved, it seems insurmountable and has left you feeling paralyzed and small in comparison. As formidable as the situation may feel, be careful not to give anything too much power or importance. Remember, the perception is everything, and the dread is often worse than the deed. It's quite possible that, in fact, the anxiety this situation has caused you has enabled this thing to cast a larger shadow than it deserves. The longer you avoid it, the bigger it will become. Take action. And then further reflection. Read the story, David and Goliath, and reflect on how David defeats the armored giant with a single stone. Then reflect on how you might tackle your own obstacle in a simple yet surprising way. The next card I drew was Cardinal, which his meaning is angelic presence, love, divinity, empathy, devotion, passion. The brilliantly red cardinal is most often thought of as the harbinger of divine messages and signals of the presence of visitors from heaven. These might be loved ones who visit us from the other side, spirit guides, or even angelic presence. To pull the cardinal in a reading is a sure sign that you are being watched over and protected by divine and unconditional love. If you have recently lost someone you love, the cardinal signals their presence around you. Outside of their connection to higher realms of consciousness, cardinals are often associated with love, harmony, bliss, and devotion. As these ruby red lovers mate for life, this is a call to get honest with yourself and your heart. Who and what are you devoted to right now? Our hearts burn with passion for many things, and it's important to do what we can to tend to our passions and ensure they stay alive. If you feel out of touch with your heart and its desires, this is your sign to find a way to open back up. When our hearts are open, we can greet everyone and everything with compassion, empathy, and tenderness. Further reflection. How does looking at a situation through the lens of compassion shift your perspective? How does looking at yourself through this lens change you? Who or what makes you feel alive? Name it out loud, move closer to it. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I've been saying this entire time. You are so divinely connected, and you're turning your back on it, and that's because you're turning your back on yourself. And you need to shift your perspective. You need to look at yourself with that lens of compassion that you're so capable of. There's just such capacity for unconditional love inside of you, but you refuse to use it. You refuse to look at yourself or others with it. And it's a waste. And you need to drop the mask and the guard, because your capacity for that unconditional love is your capacity for faith. And it's Pistis Sophia is translates to faith and logic. Faith and knowledge, that knowledge is only through faith. It's just channeling, and she gets all of the answers through channeling, and so will you, through faith. Even if faith is hard, even if you've lost it, you haven't fully, and you can't, because your love is unconditional, and that's the thing. That's what I see, and that's why I'm doing this reading. The last card is Crow. The meaning is death, psychic abilities. The crow is perhaps one of the most famous symbols of witchcraft and the occult, and is certainly an incredibly popular one. It is linked most often to psychic abilities, spiritual messages, and even death. As crows are gregarious creatures, it's common to see them in huge flocks. They can be quite noisy, making it nearly impossible to miss when they've crossed your path. When the crow card is present, it's time to pay attention to your psychic senses, messages, and to greet the doorway of death. Often we speak of death through the metaphysical lens. we are speaking of metaphorical death, not corporeal death. There's an ending that is presenting itself to you now. Whether you like it or not, it may feel painful and even downright scary to walk through this threshold and embrace this death. But you must prune away the dead leaves to allow energy to flow to the new growth. It is often through these deaths that spiritual awakenings and their accompanying psychic gifts emerge. It is here, in the void, that endless potential for creation is formed. Plants first grow under the dirt, in the dark, fertile soil, before they can break the surface and reach the sunlight. Further reflection. It is possible that plant allies may be a helpful resource. What am I reading? It's possible that plant allies may be a helpful resource to you at this stage of your life. It's no secret that a vast array of plants are used medicinally across many cultures. One of the most diverse groups of these medicinal uses is found in the decomposers, mushrooms. They're more essential to life here on Earth than most people realize, and they too require darkness to thrive, offering life its sustainability through the process of death. I don't know if they're saying to take mushrooms. Is that what they're getting at? I don't know, man. That's up to you. I feel like shrooms are just a stage 1 ego death for, like, if you're an entitled white kid going to college on your parents' buck. And if that's who you are and that's where you're at, sure, go for it. But I think your wake-up call needs to be a bit bigger, because people wake up from the matrix into another matrix, turtles all the way down. But hidden inside of you is a compass to navigate how to wake up out of these layers. I have this compass inside of me too, and was trained for this because I used to have a sleep disorder that causes these endless nightmare loops where you just wake up into a nightmare, and just keep waking up inside of them. And I stopped being able to tell what reality was after that, and haven't since. So I stopped caring if I sound unhinged, because the looser your grip is on reality, the better. We don't know anything. The wise man admits that he knows nothing about the world, and the fool thinks he knows everything. Sitting in your logic will just make you foolish. And you can be a fool in your intuition too, but you're generally not, because then it's only when you put your own ego spin on it. If you channel straight from source, if you learn to channel from source by trusting and having faith in the divine, you're not going to miss. But you have to admit to the power that's greater than you, and that you are part of that power. It's all connected. You are God experiencing itself, one facet of God experiencing itself. And you're living in a dystopian hellscape that's like a factory farm for eating human souls, and eating human misery. And if you look around yourself, you can see that. All of these levels of heaven to hell exist within our own waking life through our living experiences. And those levels are determined by our emotional vibrations. If we're resonating in a low vibrational level, you will make hell around you. And I used to do that. So I know firsthand that it's true, that you manifest from your subconscious mind and you co-create this universe around you. And so this hell that you're in is because of your lack of faith in yourself and in God, and in the soulmate that you're keeping away from you. But mostly just in yourself. It's just all of this in this reading, all of these cards, they're all, this big knotted mess, but it's all revolving around insecurities based on What did the card say? Yeah, that house cat card about dismantling all the expectation and pressures imposed on us by society and ourselves. And it's like, your upbringing. This is an escape room. That's actually a direct channeled message I got for myself in my life several months ago, that this was an escape room that I had to get out of. And it's valid here too for you, but your escape room is different, and they're all kind of personally designed to us, as our layers of hell are personally designed to our exact vibrational frequency. And to escape it, you must first do so internally. You can't run from it like you've been trying to run from it. I know, because I've tried and that did not work, and it just gets you into lower and lower vibrations. I remember, I think it was last summer or the year before, I don't know. I was sitting out back of this place I was staying at, and my life was at a really low point. Not an all-time low, but a very bad point. But I was coming out of it, and I had a lot of things that had happened that were difficult to get over. But I was sitting there, and it was the summer, and there were these chairs behind the house that had bees that had taken nest inside of the arms of the chairs, and along with several other things that were messed up about the place that were very specifically subconsciously determined by me. But like, it's been a running joke now, or was a running joke at the time, that I shouldn't be in control of my own universe, clearly because I manifested bee chairs. But then I, stopped playing victim and took accountability for my emotional state and worked on that, and worked on healing, and my relationship with God and faith and all of that. And I'm not talking about a Christian God, for anyone who has, anti-Christian beliefs based on their upbringing. Though it doesn't matter, they're just different. The words specifically that you use don't matter all too much. It's a certain energetic vibration. But I don't want to get too much into that right now and get fully off course, because words do matter, and they don't, because words are spells, and but at the same time, whatever. I digress. Whoever you are, you have a strong ego, and one that's gotten out of whack, and you've humbled yourself and you've been humbled your entire life by external people wanting to control you because you're such a strong soul. And so they have humbled you, and you felt that you need to be humble and not stand in your power. But that process causes shadow denial, which causes everything. That it's a system that makes humans imprison themselves by completely throwing off the natural order of things in this pursuit of purity and perfection, which none of us can be. Nothing's pure or perfect. Everything's perfectly imperfect, and we need to accept ourselves completely without shame, accept our shadows as well as the light, because they're also our strength. And it's one of the parts of how Abrahamic religions uphold that matrix, is by of enslaving humans, is through shadow denial. But that's a whole other can of worms and video that I'll make at some point. So I don't want to get too much into that, and it gets very conspiracy sounding, even though it's not. All these things were very clearly written for social control. Anyone that can see that. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting more and more off topic. Yeah. There's a whole world outside of your world that you're living in. it's the, how do I say this? Like, you're living in a world you don't want, and there's a world that you do want, and you just need to go to it, and you need to allow it to exist, and that's it. You need to stop blocking it out. It's beautiful and wonderful and worth living, and you're not going to ruin it. You're not. Listen to me. You are not going to ruin it. I love you. I believe in you. I have complete and utter faith in you. So have that compassion for yourself as well. Realize that our outside circumstances just mirror what's going on inside of us. All of the social situations mirror what's happening inside of us. And if your romantic life is torn apart, your social world is torn apart, it's because you are inside in your ego. And you need to have faith that there's someone out there who will love all those different sides of you, your light side and your dark side, and that has those sides in themselves. And just like you need to stop looking for perfection in yourself, you need to stop looking for that in your partner. Stop the shadow denial. Just accept people for who they are. That's what unconditional love is, and that's the secret to this existence. That's the secret to having true faith. It's just unconditional love for yourself and for God. And if you do that, God will show you his plan. It's crazy how much I've been shown. Like, sometime last winter, I got shown a vision of my roommate's soulmate, and his name, his occupation. I saw like what he was doing and like everything. I just felt like I knew him, like we were friends, and I knew everything about him. And then months progressed. We were supposed to move up to Nova Scotia, but some shit happened, and then we ended up someplace else here in middle of nowhere on a little island in the woods. And she has been dealing with a lot of issues with possession that I'll get into a video about later, because people really do be possessed. It's crazy. 11:11 on the clock when I said that. Anyways, we were never supposed to be here, is the point. This was never part of our plan, our destination. And then when we got up here, and I was working on the tuning and messages from my guides, they wanted my roommate to get a necklace, and I was shown a specific necklace online, and I was like, oh, this person made that. I'm not going to share their name on here, but I knew their specific name, and there was no information about who made this fucking necklace on the website. I just felt their energy from it, and so I sent her there, and it was a test of faith for me and her, and I didn't tell her about it beforehand, but I sent her to that store to go order the necklace, and then told her to get the card for the jewelry maker, and after she got out, she was all like flushed, and like I was like, did you get his card? And she hadn't even looked at the card yet, and she saw it. She was like, oh fucking shit, I knew it. And yeah, it was pretty big confirmation that everything that we had been doing was completely guided and purposely. And that not only that, but that her issues with demonic oppression that had chased us up here were something that our guides knew about and had accounted for already, and it was they had shown us specific proof, just little tiny second flash visions of just enough things to just give us complete proof of exactly what we were doing whenever we need it. And you'll be given that too if you're just willing to listen. And the first step is giving up the things that they ask for. And I think for quite a few of you, drinking is one of them. Any drugs or alcohol for the time being, because you're blocking out your vision and you're lowering your vibration when you do that. And it's not like you never can again, but it's clearly like a lot of you are, and specifically some people who this message is for, are very sensitive, and you drink regardless of whether you consciously know it or not. You're doing it to block out your abilities that you don't want to admit that you have. And you'll firmly start seeing that once you quit. And there's just other things that, like, you need to do to tune your life so that you can escape your escape room, get out of the matrix, and see what's actually fucking happening. Because all the politics, all the violence, all of that, it's all designed specifically to distract and distort the reality that has basically made a factory farm out of human suffering. And that's a big fucking pill to swallow, and you might not be ready for it, but I mean, I know that you're not, but you know, you're being called for this mission regardless. Regardless of whether you feel like you're ready for this, you're being called now. So it's time to wake up for your mission. It's time to get started. And you might automatically shut down and just be like, this is fucking insane. I'm not listening to it, but I don't lie, and I'm not crazy. And in your heart, you know that what I'm saying is true. So, you know, wake up. And you don't have to worry about what other people think. Don't tell them. Move in silence. Because if you make your actions known, people will try to stop you. They want you to be stopped. You have to realize that this is a war. And you're being guarded. There are people in your life who are there specifically to guard you, who are possessed. And their job is to spy on you, gather information, and keep you from your highest path. And there's some tells, but you can look at anyone in your life who tries to use his finances in any way to control you or to tell you how you should live your life, who are constantly trying to distract you, even with just feels like a good time, or tries to incite strong negative emotional responses, tries to control your autonomy, or just tries to make you fall for the distortions and the glamour that uphold this matrix. Okay, so this is probably going to sound crazy to anyone, and I have to get over that feeling. So do you. You have to get over the feeling of the fact that you're going to sound fucking insane. There's a reason. It's designed for you to sound insane, and that's part of upholding the matrix. It feeds into itself. Just feedback loop. But I got myself a full psych eval at first, so I know I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not fucking schizophrenic. Even though, yeah, I get how a lot of this sounds, and this is just me being insecure, because, like, anyone who has these abilities knows they're real. And you know the difference between what you're experiencing and what, people who think the earth is flat are experiencing. Reptilian shapeshifters, etc. It's all distortions, but there is an underlying truth of, conspiracy-esque fact that humans live in a glamour. They live in an illusion. That all these social constructs are, in politics, they're an illusion to control human suffering. And I can show anyone outside of that if you would let me. And if you ever reach out to me and want to come over here, I can show you specifically the real world underneath it all. For anyone who's brave enough to look. Or anyone who's tired of being a muggle. J.K. Rowling sucks, but that's the only word that I can think of. There is a magical world under this, and if you've never seen it, I can show you. Or you can look for yourself. But you have to know where to look. Because you can't look anywhere, everywhere, and not everybody can see it. But if you're listening to this, you probably can see it. I guarantee you can see it. And if this message is meant for you, you definitely can. But I'll leave this at that for now. My personal readings are open if you'd like to schedule one. I mean, you can even do it anonymously. I'll know who you are. And, trust me, I'll be able to tell. But my mission is to wake people up. And so is yours, and this spreads. Because human suffering isn't a commodity. And, you can't stop suffering. Human suffering exists. Suffering exists. It's a universal truth. If there was anything we can prove, it's that suffering exists if life exists. But the way that it happens in our society has been perverted. Demons or archons or whatever you want to call them, they're very real. I've seen them. Possession is very real. And it's dangerous to even talk about these things, but I trust and have faith that I'm divinely protected. And that this message will reach who it's supposed to reach. And everybody else can think I'm crazy, and that's fine. I don't care. Alright, so that will do it for the reading for today. I'm trying to get over my own internal embarrassment about posting this. And just having faith, because, whatever. If this doesn't happen in your reality, good for you. I just realized people live in different realities. If magic doesn't exist in your reality, that sucks for you. But just, if it doesn't, then this message isn't for you. Have fun doing accounting and taxes, I don't know. Whatever y'all do. It's so crazy to me, BTW, that muggles exist, that people really can't see magic. I can't get over that. That's so much more crazy to me than being able to see fairies and magic and shit. The fact that you can't, that there are people that can't, I can't wrap my brain around it. So and I don't know if they're real. No, the people, not the other things. I don't know if those people are real. That's so crazy. Y'all gotta be NPCs. This sounds insane. It's either gonna sound insane or you've seen what I'm talking about and whatever. Okay, this is enough for today. I'm just fucking losing steam here. If all of this seems insane to you, I have a fever and just ignore it. Have a good day. Okay, I love you, bye.